All righty. We'll let everyone continue to join here. Going to watch the attendee list closely, give everyone a chance to jump in. And once I see that slow down, we'll go ahead and get started. So just give it a 30 seconds or so. Make sure we give everyone a chance to hop on. Okay, looks like we have mostly everybody here. So excited to have this conversation today about cues to look for in your business on when to look at transitioning away from QuickBooks or graduating from QuickBooks into a job costing specific construction accounting software. And to have this conversation, we're really excited to have Mark Knowles with A Systems here to have that conversation. Mark's the general manager at A Systems, has been there for 30 years, helping contractors transition from QuickBooks into their job costing specific accounting software named JobView. So really excited to have this discussion, hear what Mark has to say on things you guys should be paying attention to in your business, on when to make that transition and things to look for. Once we've had a chance to look through JobView and have that discussion with Mark, we'll go ahead and jump in and look at BusyBusy from the view of how it works to capture all of that time and how easy it is to move all of that information into JobView. So eliminating any of those manual processes that exist now. And one thing to note as well, really excited to have Mark on here as well, because they are a partner of BusyBusy's. And it's been a really natural partnership because we're both aligned and have the same goal, which is helping contractors make their lives easier, eliminate manual processes, and hopefully make you guys more profit as well. So Mark, excited to have you on here. I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be able to share some information with all of you today. I'm glad that there's so many of you participating. Let me tell you a little bit about JobView. JobView is the culmination of probably over 40 years of development in providing accounting software, job costing software for the construction industry. So we're a long-time player in the industry, and we have this product called JobView that I hope that you'll see that it has a lot of depth to it, but we've also spent a lot of time on making it really easy to use. So I'm going to jump into this accounting software here. I'm going to click on a launch here, and this is called JobView Construction Accounting. A lot of people ask when they're using QuickBooks, why should I move to a construction industry specific accounting software when I'm using QuickBooks, and it seems to work pretty good. The biggest issue with using QuickBooks for your accounting, if you're in the construction industry, is your job costing. QuickBooks has attempted over the years to give a little bit of help to people in that area, but their system was not designed around job costing where JobView was. And you'll see that as we start looking into the program here, you'll see how closely aligned all of the accounting processes are with your job cost tracking. So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to select a company. When you purchase JobView, you're able to set up more than one company if you want. So I've got a bunch of companies in here to select from, but I'll pick one. And we'll log in as some username here. And each username that's in there has their own access, so that you could deny access to some people using the software that maybe you don't want them to get into some of the processes. So everything in here is going to be menu driven. We click on a different menu here and we get kind of a QuickBooksy looking kind of a flow menu. that you can use. You can opt to not use that menu and just go straight from your side menus here and pop things out. But I like this workflow menu. And I'm going to jump up here and I'm going to look at an overview of everything going on in my company accounting right now. So if I click on this company overview button, I see all of my payables and receivables here. There's my total that I owe everybody and that everybody owes me, how much money I've got in my bank, what my profit is for the year. And these links are all drill down capable. So if I see, for example, that somebody owes me a lot of money here, $500,000 in receivables that are over 4 months overdue, I can click on that number and I can see all my customers in that range that owe me money. I can highlight one of those and grab one of their invoices and look at all the details from that invoice. And then I can even reprint it. So if I get Aurora on the phone and I say, hey, you're delinquent on this invoice, she says, oh gosh, print me another copy of that and we'll take care of that. So you can just click that little button there, reprint her invoice for her, click a little button up here and shoot that off as an email to Aurora, and then she can remit that money back to you. That particular invoice happened to also come from an AIA draw request. And that's one thing that the QuickBooks doesn't usually do. In fact, most of the QuickBooks users who we speak with are doing their draw requests in a spreadsheet. That's another thing, you know, if you're using a lot of spreadsheets along with your QuickBooks, maybe time to start looking for upgrading to a job costing package like JobView, because we have so many of those processes in the software itself. So I could click this button right here and reprint that draw request. And there is an AIA style cover sheet and a continuation sheet where that billing came from. Okay, enough with that. I'm going to jump into the real meat of the issue, which is my job costing. So over here, I've got some totals. It's the totals of how much I have going on in the current jobs that are in the system. So I can click on any one of these numbers and drill down. And there's a list of every project that I've got going on right now. I've got some summary figures on there, you know, total costs and total budget for that job and how much I've billed and how much I've received. I can also look at a breakout of those costs a little bit. It's got $153,000 of costs. If I click on this tab, I see that cost broken out. All my labor costs, my materials, my subcontracts, equipment in general, and there's my 153. So I can definitely, you know, get a little bit of a breakout here, but I want to see more detail. So I'm going to take one of these jobs and I'm going to drill down and see everything going on in that job. I drill down and here is a list of all of those totals by cost type again. I've got some graphs that show me how well I'm doing against my budget. I can look at all the subs that I have on that job. I've got a bunch of them. Those are all my subcontractors with their contract and how much they billed. I can look at all my accounts payable invoices for materials, all of my accounts receivable billings. I've billed that customer a bunch of times on draw requests. Most important though is I can look at a breakout of my entire budget for that job. So if I click on this budget and costs tab, there's every single thing I'm going to do on that job, all outlined with with a budget amount and how much I've spent so far. And the system gives me a projection of how much I will spend by the end of the job. Every one of these cost codes here has a type at the end of it. That's a letter. You see that? There's a G for general, an L for labor, S for subcontract, and M for materials. So that's where those subtotals came from here on the other tab. The labor, the materials, the sub, it just adds up all the ones that are L for labor or G for general. So as I click on these, like for example, here's one that has a cost to date. It says supervision labor code. Click on that. And it shows me what makes up that $562 of cost. So right down here, I've got timesheets from 3 of my employees that have all been charged to that cost code on that job. That's a small sample. Here's one that's got $18,000 of cost on it. And it's evident that I've overspent on this particular one because my budget's only $1,500. So how did I get $18,000 of cost on this code? Well, down here in the bottom, it shows me every single person whose time card has been charged to that code. Now, that's a red flag for me, right? I look at that and I say, my project manager needs to know that all of these people's time is being charged to the wrong code. They're not doing building survey. It's obvious that these are field workers and their time should have been charged to a different cost code on this job. So I'm going to do a little report here. I'm going to print this detail listing for this cost code. Print detail listing for the highlighted cost code. And there's that exact same information in the form of a report that I can now click this button and generate a PDF of it, or click this button and the system generates the PDF and attaches it to an outgoing email. There it is. So there's that report that I just printed, and I can just pop in the name of my project manager here, and it will send him an email with that attached. So that level of cost tracking is nowhere to be found in QuickBooks. You've got your job level. If I go set up a job here, there's all my jobs, my projects. I open up one of my projects. I've got all of my contract information here, a list of all my project managers over here. I've got my customer here. I have my budget all itemized out right here. I can even set up my contractor draw billing here with all of my scheduled values. I can do payroll certification. That's another item that if you're in QuickBooks and living in that world, if you have to do certified payroll because you're working on a government project and it's government funded, and you have to certify that your employees are being paid the right rates and have the right kind of fringe benefits, can't do that through QuickBooks. So you're probably having some outside program that you're using for that, maybe using a spreadsheet, but JobView is just going to print that certification report for you based on all of the input that you've done. And also, it's going to know what prevailing wages have to be paid on a specific job. Let me go in and show you a little bit about how that works. So I'm going to go into my payroll, and I am going to go into where we put in a time card. So I'm going to put in a fresh time card, and you'll see a little bit later here when Ryan takes over that putting in timesheets into our system can be done manually like this. But if you also have the BusyBusy service, it will push the time cards into here so you don't have to enter them by hand. But I'm going to go and enter one by hand just to show you what it does in the case of a prevailing wage job, certified payroll. So I'm going to go in and put in one of my employees. I'll just pick from my list, Archie Livingston here. And, oh, hey, it says his driver's license is expired. That's nice. I'll talk to him about that, his commercial driver's license. So I'm going to go to put in a weekly payroll here. So add a line of time and charge it to a job. So I'll pull job number 200. And here's all my labor budgets on job 200 with the budget amount, how much I've spent so far. So I'm going to grab one of these labors. Now, in the employee record for Archie, it tells me he gets $10 an hour. Well, that's not very much, but this is just so that I can demonstrate what's going to go on here. So he's going to get $10 an hour for time that he works on job 200. He also, it found this E1, that's probably an electrician workers' comp code, and he's in the state of Oregon, and the percent for that is going to be 7%. He also has a fringe benefit table from his employee record that it's going to use to calculate some fringes. So I'm going to put in some hours on that job. And then I'm going to put in some hours on a certified job. So this time I'm going to pick job 300, which is a certified job. Pick a cost code. And look what it did. It popped his pay rate up to $32.50, which is the prevailing wage rate for this certified craft on job 300. So that all just came from my tables on my job setup, but it knows at time of timesheet entry exactly how much he needs to be paid. It changed his workers' comp to a different craft. He was an E1 before at 11%. Now he's an M1, and the workers' comp has dropped to 9.5%. It also switched his certified craft code here. So it does that all automatically for you when you're entering time cards, or it does it for you automatically when BusyBusy pushes the time over from their product into JobView. So what happens is they just push who the employee is and the number of hours and what job they worked on, and magically JobView then puts in all the right pay rates, the right workers' comp codes and rates, the right certified payroll codes and rates, the right general liability insurance codes and rates, everything, all done for you. But let me show you just a little sample of that certification report. So if I go over here to certification report, I'm going to print a report for job 300. So I'll say range of jobs 300 for just one pay period end date. And I want to get the official form printed here, and I'll print that. There's my form. So that's my U.S. Department of Labor payroll certification form. Fills it all out with the right numbers from JobView, from your payroll. Go to the next page, and there's my certificate of compliance. Sign that guy. We even have the ability to save your signature, so you don't have to sign these every week. If you have 15 jobs that are all certified, it'll just print with your signature on it.
And Mark, real quick, we have a question from Michael, wondering, does JobView take feeds from QuickBooks for data such as invoices, payments, etc.?
When you use JobView for your job costing and your accounting, it's a replacement for QuickBooks. So what's going to happen is you're going to start your accounting fresh in JobView. When you move from QuickBooks to JobView, you will be able to import from QuickBooks all of your vendors, your employees, your customers, your chart of accounts, your financial statement. All of those things can come in from QuickBooks, but transactions don't. So Michael, there would be a kind of a starting over when you move over to JobView, and you'll have to put in the transactions that you want to have in JobView that are historical. So for example, if I'm starting as of September 1st, and I do the transition at the end of September, I can put in all my historical invoices and billings for the month of September. But before September, we don't need those transactions. Does that answer the question, Dave? Or Michael?
I think so. So yeah, the answer is you don't need both. It's a replacement.
Yeah, it is a replacement.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions at the moment, Ryan?
I think we're good for a minute. Wanted to get that one answered. Interrupt you, but yeah, you're good to continue.
All right, great. So some people are going to ask, how do I know when it's time to jump from my QuickBooks, which I'm kind of comfortable with, into a job costing system like JobView? The things that we've seen as we've worked with many contractors over the years who come from QuickBooks is, first of all, if you've got one person using QuickBooks in your office, it's pretty good. But the minute you get a second person also logged into QuickBooks, you got two people doing your bookkeeping at the same time, that's kind of a sign that you might need to look into moving up. Another red flag would be if you're using a lot of spreadsheets in addition to what you're doing in QuickBooks, using spreadsheets for things like draw requests, for things like certification of payroll, things tracking your union information. if you're storing those things outside, we want to condense that effort all into one package. Might be time to move up. And some people have asked, is there kind of a threshold of annual sales that I might want to look at? And we do find that people, once they get over $1 million in sales, they start outgrowing QuickBooks a little bit. And the last one would be how many projects you have going on. So if you got, like if I have in here, this is just a sample data set. I've got maybe 15 jobs in here. We have people who have hundreds and hundreds of jobs ongoing or that have been happening in the past year using the software. Once you get over 2 or 3 jobs going at the same time, it starts to get a little bit unwieldy in QuickBooks. So if you have multiple jobs going on at the same time, it might be time to look into moving up. I want to show you now how easy the processes are in JobView, because you're comfortable with QuickBooks, you're comfortable with how easy it is to put in an invoice, put in a bill from a vendor or something. I want to show you some consistency that we have in here and how we've really worked on making sure that it's really easy to use. So I'm going to go to my accounts payable menu. So here we are, and I've got some processes that are kind of in a line here. First off, I put in my bills for my vendors, and then I'm going to select them for payment, and I'm going to have the system cut some checks. Okay, so this is my main cycle of entry here in accounts payable. So I'm going to go put in some invoices. Now here's a little bit of a break from the way QuickBooks does things. In JobView and in any good industry-specific professional accounting package, when you put a transaction into the system, you don't just put it in and hit the OK button and have it automatically be part of your permanent accounting. You've got to have a buffer, right? So what we have is what we call batch entry. So in batch entry, you're going to put into this batch 1 or more invoices. While they're sitting in the batch, they haven't hit your accounting, you haven't hit your job costing or your general ledger or your history files for accounts payable. They're just sitting here waiting. So you can edit them, you can do a proof listing and make sure you can run over that proof listing and make sure everything was entered properly. Then you'll hit this little button down here and post the invoices in your batch. Then and only then did they become permanent in your accounting system. And that means that you've got some control. You can have one of your entry clerks putting in invoices and a second one who has access to post them. Or you can give each clerk their own batch. Or like you can see in this demonstration, you have batches for different kinds of invoices that are going in there. So it's very flexible to have this batching available. I can even move things around. So if I have a couple of invoices in this batch and I only want to post one of them, I can just grab the one I don't want to post and drag it and throw it in some other batch. Now I'll just post the one that I wanted. Okay, so it's very flexible, but it's very safe. It allows you to have more control of what's going on in your bookkeeping processes. So I'm going to go put in a sample invoice. I'll hit the add button, add a trade invoice, and I can look up a vendor by typing in his number or doing a lookup or typing in some of his name. Johnson. There's some Johnsons there. I'll grab one of those. I'll put in an invoice number. I'll tell the system what the due date is, although it knows already because it knows from my invoice date. It goes to look at the vendor's terms and puts in the right due date. And now I just have to distribute the cost of this to my jobs. So this is a materials invoice for purchases of materials. So I'll say it's a job, and I'll say it's job number 400, and it's a cost code for wood framing materials. I'll just throw in a dollar amount. And that's how simple it is to do your job costing. You just charge your invoices to the right job and cost code, post them, and now the minute you post this batch of invoices, your job costing is going to have this $550 added to the cost to date. And you'll be able to pull that up in the drill downs, pull it up in reports. It's going to be everywhere you need it to be. Also, you can put in things here that are not job related. So if I'm just buying something I want to expense to an expense account, I'll go down here to my expense accounts in my general ledger, office supplies, and I'm going to pay $100 for office supplies. So on this invoice that I'm putting in, $550 of it went to a job, $100 of it we just expense to an office supplies account. So the entry window was pretty slick. Oh, another thing you can do in there is you can attach a copy of that invoice. So if they send an invoice to you in the mail, you could jump over to your documents folder and you could grab your document. So I'll go to my documents. I'll find some PDF scanned image, drag that, drop it there. Now that image of that invoice is permanently attached to that invoice in JobView forever. So you can come back 5 years from now, you can click on this historical invoice and hit that PDF icon, and you will see the copy of that invoice that you were sent from the vendor. So that's your accounts payable invoice entry. If I were to go in and do an accounts receivable billing, I see that the screen looks exactly the same. I've got batches, I've got invoices in the batch. I put my invoices into the batch. The invoice screen looks pretty much the same, and then I post them. So this whole batching scenario works in every single module. So once you learn it, you learn the cycle of putting things into a batch, proof listing them and editing them and then posting them. Once you learn it in one module, you've got it down for all modules. System's very easy to learn when you first start up with it. Yeah, so I'm not going to go too much further. I don't want to bore everybody. Bro, what I really want you to understand is this is an awesome accounting software. It's very deep. It's got all of your modules. It's got your general ledger where you can do your financials, your financial statement, balance sheet, and profit and loss. It's got accounts payable and receivables. It's got payroll and job costing. It's got equipment costing. If you might be an excavating contractor or something like that, you got a whole bunch of pieces of equipment you want to track their usage on your job. It's got purchase orders, inventory. If you happen to be a plumbing contractor and you have a whole bunch of stuff that you buy in bulk and you keep it in a warehouse or put it on trucks, we can track all that. It's all there. It's like the Prego spaghetti sauce. It's in there. All right.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's. You got any other questions there, Ryan?
I think we do have a couple, and I'm going to read a couple of those off to you right now. But one thing I wanted to drill down, and whether as a contractor you're experiencing these issues now, or if you're still in the growth mode, you haven't hit these items to look for to make that transition. I wanted to repeat, and I wrote them down. What Mark said in terms of as a contractor to know when you should make this transition. So if you've got more than one person playing in your QuickBooks, if you have multiple projects currently in progress, if you're starting to hit $1 million in revenue, or if you're doing some of these things in a spreadsheet, I think those are critical things to look at. And with that understanding, hey, it's time to look at a job costing specific solution, with JobView being a fantastic one that you guys should all check out. Wanted to quickly answer a couple of questions. What state are you guys based out of?
We are based out of Utah, Salt Lake City.
But you work with companies
we work with
in all 50 states?
All over the country. Yeah, we have contractors in almost every state of the union. That uses
awesome.
So
the payroll, Michael has a question about, so the payroll function on the left toolbar, does the payroll system work with commercial payroll companies like Paychex?
Yes, we can work with that. You wouldn't do the processing like, the calculations of your taxes and things in JobView, but you can put those things into JobView after the fact so that you can do your job costing. Yes.
Awesome. And so we have a handful of other questions rolling in, and I want to just note here, guys, if you have more detailed questions, we're going to try and get it to as many of these questions as we can. But if you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Mark. Go look up A Systems. Trying to remember, it's a-systems.net, and you can call in from there. And they will help answer additional questions. We have a bunch of questions coming in right now. It's hard on these quick webinars to get all the way into
to get
weeds.
everything answered, right?
But we will make sure, yeah, any additional questions, reach out to Mark. He'll get those answered for you. Also had a question come in on, is this webinar being recorded and will we send it out? The answer is yes to both of those. We are recording it. We will send it to you. So if you lose connection for a minute, or if you want to share it with other members of your team, not a big deal. We will send that out to you. So we're going to transition now to looking at BusyBusy for a minute. Once we're done there, we'll jump back to questions. I keep seeing questions come in. We'll try and get to as many of these as possible at the end. So as Mark has showed here, let's see if that worked. So JobView is the back end piece. It's the accounting, the project management, and the job costing software that you need. Where BusyBusy, we are the solution for the front end. We're the solution that's going to help your field employees capture that time, capture that job costing, that then can all be collected, looked at in reports in BusyBusy, but also easily pushed right into JobView so you can get a full picture of the job and understand what's going on. And one thing to note here before I jump in is, and Mark, you mentioned as well, your guys' solution, it's really, really simple to get rolling. And same thing for BusyBusy. In fact, and if any of you have been on these webinars before, you've heard me say it, but our founder and CEO, Isaac Barlow, he comes from the construction industry. So 10 years ago, running his excavation company with his brothers, and they were frustrated by their inability to get good data from the field into the office. So that is where he decided to build BusyBusy and make it something that was simple to use, especially because everyone knows they need to track time, but unfortunately it can be a thorn in everyone's side. So go ahead and I'll jump in here. So with BusyBusy, a unique thing that we have is that you can track time 3 different ways. And there's no difference in price for that, but we want to make it as customizable or fit however as a company you guys are tracking time now. So as an employee here, I can track time on my own device. And one thing I'm going to show as well here is we have some companies that prefer to use the scheduling module to help employees make it even easier for them to clock in. So this way, as an employee, I don't even have to go find the project, go find the cost code that I'm trying to clock into. The project manager, admin, owner has already done it for me. If I've never been to that job, I can view where it is and how to get there. If they left any instructions for me, I'm able to view the instructions. And then I can go ahead and just hit clock in right from here. And it auto pulls up the project I'm on, and I hit done, and I'm clocked in. So I can clock in right from my my schedule here. And then second way for companies to track time is through the supervisor tool. So if you have a supervisor or foreman that you want to track employees' time, they have the ability to do so here. And all of the same functionality that I have in tracking time as an individual employee. So a supervisor can also take everyone on break, switch from job to job or cost code to cost code, as well as leave descriptions. One cool thing as well with our supervisor tools, and again, try not to get too far into the weeds here, is they have the ability to either track time live throughout the day, or if it is easier for your company or it's a preference that you have your supervisors track and capture job costing at the end of the day, we have this job costing tool right here. It's really easy to use. In a couple of clicks, they can allocate all of the time for that day to the job, to the cost code, and not have to do it live while they're trying to work. Last way to track time here is through the Kiosk Mode. So Kiosk mode is typically larger companies or companies that have their employees start in the shop. So it'd be like on a tablet, and employees would have this view. So I'd go ahead and find my name, and I'm already clocked in. So I'll just go ahead and clock out, and it's going to use facial recognition to know that it's me clocking in, clocking out on this kiosk mode. But before I'm able to clock out, and this daily sign off is something that is available for individual employees tracking time on their own phone. Will use it. A supervisor can pass their phone to all the crew members and have them fill out this daily sign off and sign it. Or on the kiosk, I will be required to fill it out if the company wants me to. And the first thing here is a non-injury report. And this is critical because as construction companies, typically really good at capturing if an injury occurs. Where most companies fall short is if there's capturing that non-injury. So eliminating that risk of an employee coming back 6 months later and saying, hey, I got injured, I'm filing workers' comp, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to raise your rates. So this allows you to have these employees every day capture, was I injured? Yes or no? Break policy, and especially for if we have anybody here who is out of California specifically, we have a special California break policy toggle here, but I'm able to capture break policy as well as time accuracy. And then as I go ahead and submit that, it's going to grab a photo of me. So I'll let that snap a picture. Go ahead and accept that. And it's going to use facial recognition to make sure that I am who I am and that I'm supposed to be clocking in, clocking out. I'll just quickly show this. So pretty sweet, shows 99% match, even like Royce down here, even half his face, we're still hitting a 99% match here. So that is the 3 ways companies can track time with BusyBusy. So it really is, it's flexible. We want to make it as easy as possible so that you can capture the most accurate data to feed into a job view to get that full picture. We also have the ability to capture photos. So a company, if you have guys taking photos in the field right now and they're texting them in, emailing them in, this makes it really easy. It's going to geostamp it, timestamp it, date stamp it, tie it to the project, and then the employee can take a photo, hit done, and can forget about it. Makes it really simple. Jumping to the dashboard here, have the ability to view at a quick glance who's clocked in, who's clocked out, who's on break. Here's that daily sign off. So as an admin owner, I can view, did we have any inaccurate times? Did we have an injury? And then I'll go ahead and jump down. I showed the scheduling on the phone, but wanted to just quickly showcase here the scheduling feature where I can come in by week, look at by project and see, okay, where's all my crews at? What needs to happen? Do I need to add someone here? I can easily move people around. Makes it really simple. And one thing I did want to show as well, I know we may have a couple of companies on here that are current BusyBusy users. And so we did just release a document feature. So wanted to showcase this as well. So this allows companies to drop, whether it be plans or a fillable form, a toolbox talk. You can drop these in here and I can view these on the dashboard or even on my phone. So I can come into the document here, and these are built specifically for me to either house per project and view whenever I need to, or if it's a fillable form, I can fill this out and then share it, and that's going to allow me to email it, text it, send it however I need to whoever that's supposed to go to. So it makes that really simple. And then before I jump into our new payroll tool that makes life really easy to make sure all of your payroll needs are taken care of before sending the time over to JobView, wanted to show our budgeting tool, and it's different in that as the time tracking piece, it's not going to capture the full picture. So it's not going to capture the materials, but what it is going to capture is your labor budget. And what's really cool about this is that I can come in here. So once you've set that budget in JobView or whatever software you're using, you can come in here and add the labor budget. So labor hours, labor costs per job. And I can also add a specific budget per phase as well. But what this allows you to do is your supervisor, project manager, if they're out in the field, they can actively see this right from their phone. So I can come right to the project. I can view this labor budget. So from the field as a supervisor, foreman, project manager, I can come in and see, okay, where are we at on this? Are we ahead of budget? Are we on budget? What do I need to do right now to make sure that we stay on budget? And that's pulled up. So I'm over budget here on the Reber Mark job. So we got to get this wrapped up as quickly as possible. Okay, last thing, and again, fairly new feature, this payroll feature. Really, really cool. I'm going to go to last week's view here. And then I'm going to load this in. Now I have the ability to scan. And as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing that I did miss one thing here from a liability protection standpoint that I meant to show. And so on top of everything else, we can have employees not only view their time cards for the week, but employees can sign their time card. And it's customizable in that you as the company can pick if you want the employee to sign and the supervisor as well, or just the employee. So I'll go ahead and even just sign this as the supervisor saying, yep, that employee's time's accurate. They were on my crew. That's good to go. And then cool thing here is that as an admin project manager, if I adjust this time and I say, actually, we had a mistake, I'm updating the time, those signatures are going to disappear and notify the employee and the supervisor they need to re-sign that. So you're never going to have an old time card that's signed. But now as I come into here, I have these different things that it's going to help me look for instantly. So did everyone sign their time card? Are there any time conflicts? Did anyone have time off requests in BusyBusy that weren't completed? And here on our demo account, it's a whole mess. I only got a couple of checked boxes here. So as an admin owner, I can come in here and I can deep dive into all of this and get everything adjusted. And once I have green check marks here on everything, I'm able to pull up the import tool. And I have just an example here even. So in 4 steps here, I'm going to refresh the pay period, select the pay period, and then it's going to customize and move all the information inside this Excel macro exactly how it needs to be in order to import right into JobView. And it will capture, like Mark mentioned, if there's specific prevailing wage or special overtime hours, we're able to capture that here and make sure that we get all of that covered. So when it goes into JobView, it's ready for payroll. It's ready for you guys to use. And so, yeah, makes that pretty simple. Wanted to just do a quick showing here of how the two work together. And then I'll go ahead. I know we got a bunch more questions that came in where we'll get to those, unless Mark, you have anything before we finish up here.
No, I don't have anything to add except for if anybody has a few questions that we could answer before time's up.
Absolutely. One question I did see that came in for you, Mark, was how long does it take to implement JobView? So if someone's using QuickBooks today, how long does it take to get it implemented?
Couple weeks. What I mean by that is we can install it immediately, but we want to train you. So there's training sessions on each one of the modules. When you do that, usually a training session per day for a couple of weeks, and that'll cover all of the training that you need for using the accounting software, and then you're off and running.
Awesome. And then I've got a question here. They use QuickBooks and their estimators want to know if SCC software offers how to record the cost by items. I mean, initial cost and final cost by project.
I'm not sure I have enough information from that question to be able to answer that. I do know that with your estimating softwares, if you are generating an estimate through an estimating software, and you don't want to have to input the budget into JobView from your estimate, you can import that from a text file. So most of your estimating softwares, and of course, if you estimate in Excel, of course, you just save that as a text file, and we import that so you don't have to punch those numbers back into your JobView to set up your budgets.
Awesome. Another question just came in. Is there ongoing support once JobView is purchased and we've transitioned from QuickBooks?
Absolutely. Yep. We have support people here in our office. You get on a support contract with us, and you can call unlimited number of calls to the hotline. You can also email us. We'll help with that. But yes, there's ongoing software support and updates. So we're updating the software frequently with new features and little fixes and things. And those updates come every week.
Awesome. And I did get, Anthony, I saw your message as well on wanting to see more about the inventory module. That is where I would go look up a-systems.net, call in, find a time to chat with Mark, and he can help walk you through that.
I saw one question
detail
on there from Michael, who asked about the work in progress report. And the answer is that yes, absolutely yes. We have a bonding report, which is a work in progress report, which shows the profitability of each job and the over or under billings on that job. And then you get a total overbilled and total underbilled for all jobs that you can then apply to your financial statement.
Awesome. And one I just saw come in as well. So busy question. Does it work offline? And the answer is yes, it does. It's a native app. So what that means is you can have employees that are offline up in the mountains for a week at a time. And as soon as they come down off of that or come down back into service, all the information has just been storing locally on their phone. And as soon as they get back to service, it's going to immediately upload everything right into BusyBusy. And we were partnered with AWS, so Amazon Web Services. So that's we're storing everything. So your photos, your documents, all that time information is going to be stored there forever, and you're never going to lose it. Let's see. Does the SW sync with my bank accounts?
The software does not sync with your bank accounts in the same way that QuickBooks would, where it syncs up and grabs all your transactions and brings them. You're responsible for putting those transactions into JobView through check writing and deposits, receipts entry, things like that. We do hook up with your bank to grab a text file of all of those when it's time to do a bank rec. So when it's time to reconcile your checking account, yes, you can grab that text file from your bank, and our software will compare the transactions in JobView against the transactions from your bank, make sure that you've got everything recorded.
Awesome. All righty, making sure we're not missing any questions here. Does the COA cost codes follow NAHB's cost codes?
The cost codes in JobView are user definable. We have the CSI cost codes, Construction Specifications Institute. We have their old version and their new version already set up for you. But if you want to use the NAHB cost codes, we can put those in as well. But it's a totally user definable set. So you can use whatever cost codes you're comfortable with.
Awesome. Kim asked, is the solution available on premise or cloud or both?
Our software is traditionally on premise, so you would put it on a local area network and have everybody access your data on a local server. But we also do offer a cloud hosting. So we work with Microsoft Azure, and we'll spin up a cloud server and give you logins to that server, and we will keep the server for you, keep the software updated on it. And so there's a monthly fee for that, of course, but yes, we do cloud hosting.
Awesome. And Polly asked, do you have to set up the certified payroll rates in the BusyBusy app so it captures the correct rate for that particular project, or does it transfer over once it gets uploaded to JobView? So we do have the ability to put in a wage rate in BusyBusy for each employee, and that's what's going to be used for that labor budget. But if there are changing rates or specific rates, whether that be certified payroll or prevailing wage, that's exactly what we're going to use that macro I showed for. And that's where we're going to build all of those special rules. So everything would be accurate in JobView, and then that macro would be built to tie the time accurately into those different rates inside of JobView. And Mark, you can add anything there if I
No,
didn't
that sounded
clarify
right.
that well enough.
Yeah, that sounded correct.
All righty. Is there training for the field workers for the app as well as admin? For BusyBusy, and you can answer it for you as well, Mark. For BusyBusy, absolutely. So with BusyBusy, we have a onboarding process where they will help you get your account set up, customized for you. Then we will help you do a training with employees, help you run the first payroll, get all of the integration stuff taken care of. So we do hold your hand through that whole process, make sure everything gets done smoothly. And then Mark, I know you've talked about a little bit. If there's anything else you want to clarify there,
I think that was
go
more
ahead.
directed toward you because they were talking about the field app.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And then pricing structure for JobView, is that something that's easier for them just to call in to get answered there?
Easier for them to call in, but I will
Okay.
say that the base package is going to come with all the main accounting modules. That would include payables and receivables, payroll, general ledger, and job costing, your main accounting modules. And then other ones would be added on at an additional cost. And we do have different levels of pricing. We have different versions of the software based on what your needs are and what your cash flow situation is at the moment. So we have a full-throated one, full-featured one called the Preferred Edition. We have one that's scaled back a little bit called the Standard Edition. And then we have an entry-level one called the Small Builder Advantage Edition, the SBA Edition, which is very inexpensive, but we've masked off some of the features for that one. So, but when you call us and we set up a guided tour and help you out, we can give you all the pricing on the 3 levels of the product.
Awesome. In regards to bank transactions, do you have plans in the future to have the feature of downloading transactions from the bank?
We don't, because of the sheer volume of banks, and with QuickBooks, they have a very huge user base, and they have lots of resources to do that. We have to program for each bank, and we just don't have the resources to do that. So I don't see that being coming in the future in the JobView product.
Makes sense. And I did, just as a heads up for everyone, I did drop a link to the website A Systems as well. So it's easy just to click that, grab that. And then I think that gets us pretty well covered. I wanted to make sure we got to as many questions as possible. I think we've covered them all at this point.
Somebody
any
asked
additional...
for a general ballpark on the pricing on JobView, and I'll toss that out because I don't want anybody to feel the sticker shock if they call us or something. That base package that we talked about that includes the 5 main modules for a single user is going to range anywhere from $250 for the Small Builder Advantage Edition up to $5,000 for the Preferred Edition. So that's your starting point. And then I think that's $3,000 on the Standard Edition. So those are your 3 starting points for pricing. And then you would add additional modules if you want the purchase orders or the inventory or some of those additional things.
Awesome. And Michael and Mark, you can correct me. He just asked if those are annual. Some are initial.
That's purchase.
Yeah,
that's purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do things on a subscription basis with JobView. It's you purchase the license, the software. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think that gets us pretty well covered again. If you guys have additional questions, hit the link here to JobView, check it out. and yeah, we'll make sure and email you guys the recording. So watch for that. But other than that, yeah, glad
Well,
to have you on here, Mark. And
I just have a parting quote, Ryan.
yeah,
Sold
absolutely.
this to an excavating contractor not long ago. He used JobView for a while and he said, with QuickBooks, I had a shovel. With JobView, I have a backhoe. So I'll leave it at that.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody. We will see you on the next one.
Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.